All right, we are back with the Mountain Tournament. This is the Expert Division, and I made some mistakes this round, but I wanted to share it anyway. So let me know in the comments if this is helpful or not. I'm going to include a few things that did not go well, and I'm going to make quite a few changes for my qualifying round, or whatever it's called, on Thursday, and then for the weekend round, because I assume I will make it to the weekend round because I usually do. All right, so here we are. You can see I'm playing it pretty safe here with the quarterback. I think the next time I play this, I'll probably break out. I have an Apocalypse 2. I'll probably break that out and try and get a little bit closer because I would rather be hitting with a Thorn here than the Backbone. But that's okay. I do want to comment as usual. I've changed the format of this up just a little bit. I have the club up here that I'm using, and I have the ball that I'm using. I have the hole, and then the important part for me when I'm reviewing these videos before I play each round is the wind adjustment. So I've got a 10% wind adjustment here for this shot. I am not showing my ring calculations because I'm doing that off screen, doing that on my iPad. I'm playing this on the Facebook game room, which allows me to have it actually runs a lot smoother for me on the game room, and it gives me this nice full screen view here. So that's been my preferred way of playing. I made these guides myself. I saw it in an app, thought they were awesome, and so I made them. So that's kind of what's going on here on the screen. 0% adjustment for this shot. I'm using a Power 5 ball because I want to make sure I clear the gap here with the Apocalypse, which has, I'm using that instead of the extra mile because I want the extra top spin and a tiny bit better accuracy. And, you know, I think I'm going to play it just like this next time. This shot, I couldn't have asked for it to be really much better. I didn't have to overpower it. I didn't have to do anything like that. Fortunately, I did hit it perfect, so at first, when this landed, I thought it might go a little bit too far. A little bit too far to the right there towards the sand of the rough. Fortunately, the way the fairway slopes, it slowed it down just fine. So this is a plus 10% shot, I think. I think it is. When I was looking at it, when you look at it there, it looks like it's downhill a little bit. So I'm going to try and do a 10% adjustment. This green is interesting. So you can't see now, but you'll see when my ball falls a tad bit short here that the hole is not like, you can't really funnel the ball to it. It's kind of sitting on the top of a little hill. So you got to be really, really accurate if you're going to make this albatross. But this is a must eagle hole in this tournament. This is the easiest par 5 by far in this tournament this week. So this one, you can't land in the sand, you know, up there on that first shot. That's my biggest worry on this hole. But I think with the tailwind and a good power ball, that sand should be out of play. You should be just fine. You can kind of see how the green is there. Kind of crazy. It's gonna make albatross hard, but doable. This shot's 10% here. I'm just trying to figure out where I am with my clubs. I'm about minimum distance. And you know, I didn't play this one right because as I go over to the side, you're going to see I'm going to land the ball. Really, I want to land it in the fringe there, but I'm going to land it on the downslope. And even though my ball guide looks decent here, I'm going to land it on that downslope, and it's going to keep running. It's going to land about where my opponent did as well. So pretty much on target here. My adjustments were pretty good. A tiny bit of curl, hit the ball perfect. It just barely glides past the hole, but again, landed on that downslope, and then off it goes. Still an easy birdie, but I just want to keep in mind I want to land that first bounce on the fringe, so I don't run so far. Give myself a better chance for hole-in-one. This hole, always play right. There's no advantage to playing left. There's just not. You get a better look at the green when you play right anyway, and you take the risk away from ending up in the rough. So I always play this right. When I play it next, I'll be using a Kingmaker because I needed just a tiny bit more, a little bit more distance. So I like the accuracy of the quarterback. I'm going to use it on a lot of the holes because a lot, you know, This tournament, like many, it's all about being accurate, especially off the tee, trying to be in the fairway, give yourself a chance, with these approach shots. But a little bit more power on my ball would have made that a better shot there. But it's still doable. So I'm right here with my sniper, got a good look at it. There's not a lot to say about this shot. I mean, I line it up pretty well. If you look closely here, you're gonna see I am gonna aim just a tiny bit higher than I should have. So I should have brought that ball guideline down just a little bit. You can kind of see there, I'm gonna shoot it just a tiny bit too far. It's over the top. And, I could have aimed a tiny bit more left as well. So just little adjustments, when I'm watching these, I'm just looking for little adjustments I can make to give myself a chance to make shots like this. This was actually closer to the rough than I wanted it to be, but it curled in there nicely. It's a good shot, but if I can dial that in just a little bit more, the winners of this tournament are going to make shots like that. Now I'm actually playing this shot to the right. I don't see anybody else doing that, but when I was watching this replay, I think there's a couple of good reasons to do it. I think what I did after this shot wasn't the right play to make, but I'll show you here. So this is just the first shot, 10% adjustment using the quarterback, and I am using a kingmaker. I'm going to continue that for the rest of my rounds. I may add even a power 4 ball in there, just try and get a little bit more power. Just push it right up there to the very top. So now I have a couple of options. Number one, I think I have a better look at, I don't know, I think I have a better look if I played it that way, up to the right there. I think this is a better look than trying to just shoot the gap from the left side. I could be wrong, but what I was thinking I would do is play to the left side of this fairway and try and take the trees out of play so I don't have to curl it around. These are just minor little details. I can curl it around the trees, but I'm just trying to make this as easy on myself as possible and give me a chance to really make one of these approach shots. I do not go far enough to take the trees out of play here, unfortunately. So this is not much better than if I had gone to the right, because I still have trees in play. So I've got to tweak this a little bit. So I think in the future I may try and push a little bit further up where my opponent did, which gives me a short, clear shot to the pin, or push further off to the left so that the trees are not quite in play. This wasn't a big deal. I was able to put it in up on the green and get the birdie here. Eagle is going to be so difficult here, but yeah, the biggest risk for me on this hole are the trees on the right. I've hit them before. I just don't want them to be in play. You can see even with my wind adjustments, I get a little nervous because I'm into the trees and I'm not sure how quickly the wind's going to push me over. So I play just a little bit of curl here to be safe. But other than that, pretty straightforward shot. The line was just right there, I think. Very, very close, just a tiny bit too much. So, easy birdie, but I want to give myself the best opportunity I can for an eagle. So here we have a 10% adjustment with the sniper. This ended up being a pretty good shot. Had it dialed in fairly well there. It bounced a little bit sooner than I wanted it to, so it falls a little short. So I have to take a look at that. I think that may have been because I wasn't using the right distance for my club when I was doing my wind adjustments. I think 10% is still going to be right. And again, this was still a good shot, but we're trying to get it perfect here. We're trying to find a hole in one where we can. And so that bounced just a tiny bit shorter than I wanted it to. If I had got it just a little bit more, maybe not quite as much backspin, that one could have had a real chance. And maybe it's the backspin. Maybe just do a little less backspin. All right, so here is where the collapse starts. I'm just not thinking here. There is no reason to do max topspin, especially when I've got tailwind like this. If you know anything about this game, I'm about to go into the sand. So it was unnecessary. Did not need the topspin. This is an interesting hole. If you look on Reddit, I've seen some folks actually with a monster hook with like an apocalypse or something shoot the gap here, clear the water, and get on the green. Max topspin, huge hook, and a kingmaker or even a more powerful ball. That's a possibility. I'm not going to include that shot here, but I'm not sure if I'm going to try that this weekend or not. I'm going to take a look. I might try it in tour play a little bit, see if I can figure it out. But I think we will see some eagles on this hole. I think it's going to come from shots like that. People getting creative, because in a tournament like this, all it takes is finding a way on one hole to get away from that birdie and find an eagle that other people have not found, and that's what will separate you from the pack. So this is a hole. Keep in mind, hole number 7. If you see it on tour play, tour 8, see if you have like an apocalypse or an extra mile 7, play with that huge curl shot with top spin. See if you can find a way to get it up there. That's a risky shot though. If you mess it up, that hole is completely shot. I really blew this shot too, as you can see. You can already see what I'm doing wrong here. There's just no room for error. I'm barely going to clear the rough here, right? So, especially when I'm going to be moving with that, I've got headwind coming at me here. The ball guideline is compressed a little bit anyway, so I'm going to hit the rough. If you know anything about this game, you know it's about to happen. So again, I'm just not thinking clearly. It's very obvious now, which is why it's really great for me to watch these replays, because I see these things that are so obvious to me now that were not at the time. But I just was not thinking clearly. That's still a birdie for me. I chipped it in, but again, trying to get holes in one. And this was a total brain fart. This is embarrassing, but I'm going to include it. I'm including all the shots, and I think the Apocalypse and I think the Kingmaker, I think those are the right club and ball. And what I wanted to do here was set it up so that I could do a lot of curl and shoot that gap there, because then this is the other hole that I think, especially an expert, you just have to eagle it. But it is much more difficult than hole number 2 to eagle, but it's doable. But you got to shoot that gap and stay out of the rough for the sand. This is a tricky one. So you can see I over adjusted by almost twice as much. So I'm lucky that I did not go into the water here. Just a total brain fart. I don't know what I was thinking. But I over adjusted by almost twice as much as I should have. So here we are. I'm going to play this rough shot up here. And then I'll play, if you play it safe and you go right, then, you take a shot and you end up here at the top of this fairway. And then you take your third shot. It's the easy hole to birdie. But again, you've got to shoot the gap here, and you've got to be able to approach in 2. And I'm sorry I do not have that to show you, but I'm trying to talk it through with you guys enough just so you know that's what's got to happen on this hole, because this is a must-eagle hole. But I imagine, I'm sorry this video is a little late. I imagine by the time everyone's watching this video, the folks that did qualify, you probably already know which holes you have to eagle or not eagle. But, it's worth mentioning. So here I am, with the backbone, trying to dial it in. It's actually pretty close here. Trying to figure out the right distance. Once I get it lined up, you'll see what I do wrong here. But if you're looking at it now, you're gonna see I'm not accounting for that wind on the second bounce. So it's definitely gonna be a tiny bit to the right here. So I'm not quite dialed in. The distance is pretty close. I could have gone just a hair bit more. But I'm going to fall a little bit to the right, and then I hit it great to the right as well, so that's going to push it even more to the right. But just little things like this, got to dial them in. And, to do well in this tournament, like a top 10 or so, you have to find some eagles on some of these approach shots. So let me know if this is helpful to you guys. I'll definitely be referring back to it as I play through. If you have any tips or suggestions for me, I always love that. Always trying to improve. So shoot me a comment. Also, if you have any questions or anything like that, shoot me a comment, and good luck in your tournament this weekend. Thanks.